Coming up on today's edition of the Bulls Report, we're going to be discussing if the Bulls should sign Rudy Gay. And then in the later half of today's video, we're going to be discussing if a breakout season could be heading our way for the guard out of North Carolina, Coby White. My name is Patrick Siepman. Welcome into today's show. Exciting show to dive into today with the Thunder releasing Rudy Gay, and we're just going to dive into if the Bulls, if he could be a good fit on this Bulls roster. But I will want to address this first news piece of today's show, and that was the report that Daniel Greenberg dropped earlier today. He actually got it from Fred Katz of The Athletic, but he tweeted out, he said the New York Knicks did show interest in trading for Zach LaVine this summer, but the Bulls' asking price for Zach LaVine was giant. The Bulls and Knicks never got close to a deal for LaVine. And we obviously know the Bulls are fully intending to running it back this upcoming season. And this to kind of wrap up my thoughts on around the whole Zach LaVine trade rumor saga that we've seen going down during the NBA offseason. I agree with the Bulls' move to keep Zach LaVine on this roster because you can always ship him at the trade deadline. And that's why I like to hear that the Bulls' asking price was giant because I feel like it should have been. Like Zach LaVine, in terms of just a three-level scorer in the NBA, there are not much guys like him. I think his value is a lot higher than most NBA fans originally would think for him. And we all know there is going to be a team that gets desperate at the NBA trade deadline. So I like the Bulls kind of sitting back with their cards in their hands and just saying, we're not going to trade him unless you give us an offer we cannot refuse. So AK, Mark Eversley, I agree with your moves to keep Zach LaVine. But now first story we're going to be diving into, should the Bulls sign Rudy Gay, the infamous Rudy Gay? He's a 36-year-old, been in the NBA for a very long time, and the Oklahoma City Thunder just released him yesterday after he was involved with the John Collins trade to the Utah Jazz, and he was sent to Oklahoma City, and then Oklahoma City ended up cutting him. But this is what the Bulls roster looks like as of right now. Obviously, we still know Ayo Dosunmu being the restricted free agent for the Bulls, so we'll see, what happens there. But in terms of the starting lineup, I do believe Javon Carter will get that starting reps as the point guard. We know Zach LaVine and DeRozan, what they offer on the wing for the Bulls. And then Patrick Williams, I do think he'll still retain that starting four spot with Vooch being the big man in the middle. But in terms of Rudy Gay coming off the bench as a piece for the Bulls, if this was Rudy Gay from 5 years ago, I would have absolutely loved it. That 3-and-D wing, he's got incredible size. He's got a 7'3" wingspan, but it's the productivity over the last couple of seasons, which is a concern for me. Rudy Gay throughout his career has been an efficient basketball player, especially shooting the ball. But these past couple of years, it has not been the case. I mean, this past season, shooting 25.2% from deep and 37.8% from the field, with only averaging just over 5 points a game. But a little bit about Rudy Gay and where he's at in his NBA career. He is 36 years old. Like, you can't kind of get your way around that. Or he is an older player. He has lost a step on both sides of the floor, but he still offers incredible size. Like him coming out of UConn with that 6'8" frame with a 7'3" wingspan, being a top pick in the NBA draft. I mean, I remember watching him at UConn, and he was fantastic. Like throwing his highlights from him back in his days with the Huskies, he was one of the more fun players to watch in college basketball. And then also for all the 2K heads out there, he was an absolute legend in 2K, the 3-and-D archetype on the sticks. He was one of the best players with him and Gerald Green. They absolutely dominated NBA 2K14. But the question with him, is he cooked? Is Rudy Gay, does he have anything left to offer? Does he have anything left in the tank? Is he done? I'm pretty much in the camp that he is, because from an efficiency standpoint, the step has he has taken a step back from that side of things because the advanced shooting numbers for him kind of back that up. I mean, the catch and shoot three-point percentage from this past year, 24.8%. And if the Bulls were going to bring him in, we obviously know Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, they're going to demand the ball for a majority of the shot clock. And you want your role players in the NBA to be great catch and shoot guys because they're getting the ball later in the shot clock, and it's just going to come down to them stepping into it and hitting a catch and shoot three, and he shot that at 24.8%. Pull-up jumpers, 44.1, a decent percentage there. But even from the free throw line down at 51.4%, you don't normally see guys sitting up there at 60%, and it's just because he's lost a step. He's just not the same guy that he used to be. Then the overall shooting percentage from this past season did sit at 43.7. But I'll throw this question your guys' way. Do you want the Bulls to sign Rudy Gay? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So YouTube's going to throw an ad break your way. Sit back, let it play, and give me an S for sign or give me a P for pass if you would bring Rudy Gay to the Chicago Bulls. I would pass. I do think Rudy Gay is cooked. And if the Bulls are going to use that last roster spot, I would want them to go in a different direction. Now, listen, Rudy Gay, one of the more fun players to watch in NBA history. Like, truly the best definition of a 3-and-D archetype that we have had. I mean, again, the 6'8" frame, the 7'3" wingspan. Like, the ability to knock down the three-point ball. He's just not that same guy. And I got other options that I would want the Bulls to consider with that last spot. Obviously, Christian Wood has been the one that was linked to the Bulls, and we discussed that yesterday with the Bulls possibly, being a suitor for him and using the disabled player exception on him. Obviously, P.J. Washington would be a little less likely the Bulls would need to trade for him, and they couldn't use the DPE on that or on PJ as well. And then Oubre, I doubt Oubre goes for the 1-year DPE deal, but if they could bring him in, these are 3 other guys that I would prefer over Rudy Gay. I just think Rudy Gay's past his prime. Good name, fun name to talk about, NBA 2K legend, but I'd be out on Rudy Gay. Coming up around the corner, we're going to be discussing if Coby White will finally break out for the Bulls this upcoming season. And obviously, no top 10 pick out of North Carolina in 3 drafts ago. We've been sort of just waiting if a breakout season will finally happen. We'll discuss that in just a second here. But guys, we got a great deal going on, and if you head to chatsports.com/Bulls combo, you can get this 2 t-shirt pack, which right now is $20 off. They normally go for $49.99. Well, we got a deal for you guys, $29.99. If you go to chatsports.com/Bulls combo, I think the shirts are pretty sweet. I'll make sure to put the link for that in the comment section and the description of today's show. Make sure you get your Bulls t-shirt combo now. So setting the scene with Coby White here a little bit. Obviously, in the 2019 NBA draft, he was picked number 7th overall out of North Carolina. Something about guards getting drafted out of North Carolina for the Bulls. I'm always a big fan of him. But the height for Coby White, 6'4". He weighs 195 pounds. Wingspan is at 6'5", and his numbers from last season. The minutes per game actually a little lower than I originally thought. Only playing 23.4 minutes per game with 9.7 points per night, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and okay efficiency. He actually shot the ball pretty well from deep, 44.3% overall from the field, and then 37.2% from deep. But my overall takeaway with Coby White and just his overall game and a little scouting report is he is a flashy all-around scorer. Like, when he's clicking and when his shots and he's knocking them down, he can legitimately score from all 3 levels. He's got a great 3-point shot. He can come off that pick and roll, step right into a shot, and knock it down. He's also got a great mid-range game. He uses his shoulders actually incredibly well in the mid-range. Kind of get a bump on a guy and create a little separation and rise up. Then he's actually got a really nice floater push shot in the kind of right above the restricted area between the free throw line down. Not the best at putting his head down and actually getting to the rim and finishing, but in other aspects of the game, and he's hitting his shot, he is absolutely fantastic. And then that quick first step, like we've seen it with Coby over the first couple of years. He'll put the ball between his legs, blow by his defender. He's always been an incredibly shifty guard, but it's a streakiness with him because he'll have a game where he'll go 2 for 11. You're looking around like, Coby, what the hell? But then also the next night, he could go give you 30 points off the bench on incredible efficiency. He's one of those types of players where if he sees the first 2 shots of the game go down, he kind of blacks out a little bit, and all he's seeing for the rest of the night is that back iron. But it's also the defensive side of the floor. He lacks that intensity. He lacks that dog, which is why I love a guy like Ayo DeSumo so much, where he's picking you up full court and he's sitting in that chair and getting grill to grill with you. Coby White, Ayo are pretty much polar opposites of each other. Coby White, the scoring guard, Ayo, the defensive-minded guard. But my take with Coby White, and if he wants to kind of reach his max potential and his max can carve himself out a role here in the NBA, I think he's got to embrace that kind of 6-man scoring guard role. Like, be that Lou Will type of player off the bench. Be that Manu Ginobili. Like, be that guy where it's like I was saying, him being a streaky scorer, be that guy where if he pops off for a game and gives you 25, 30 points off the bench, there's no way the Bulls are losing. You're just also going to have to take with the games where he goes 2 of 10, 2 of 11, and he struggles to find that 3-point shot. But from advanced shooting numbers his last season, catch and shoot, pretty solid. I mean, anytime a guy's above 36% from me, especially if they're a role player on your team, I'm taking it. He shot that at 38.7%. The pull-up numbers, a little lower than I actually thought. I always kind of have a thought in my head of what these numbers will look like before I actually, deep dive into them. I thought that would have been more at like 45 just from eye test from last season, but it was at 41.8. Free throw line down, less than 10 feet. He shot that at 58.6. Overall shooting percentage, it was sitting at 44.0. But I ask you guys this question: predict Coby White's stats for next season. Obviously, got that big-time extension for the Bulls this offseason. Should have a little bit of a bigger role with the Chicago Bulls this year, especially if they don't bring back Io. Expect the points per game and the minutes per game and overall usage rate to go up. But let me know, predict Coby White's stats for next year. I overall think this is actually going to be a make or break year for Coby White. I understand they did sign him to that 3-year extension where he kind of has some sort of structure there, and he's locked into that. But I do think if he has another kind of down year per se, I do think the Bulls could maybe be looking to trade him or looking to move on from the guard out of North Carolina. I mean, you take a guy 7th overall in the 2019 NBA draft, I would expect him to have a bigger impact than he's had so far. I mean, him and Io, very similar impact so far, and Io was taken in the 2nd round. Coby White was a top 10 pick. So overall, I think it's a make or break for Coby, but I think he's going to do it. I think Coby White's going to have a great year. Him and Patrick Williams, my 2 breakout candidates for the Bulls. And as always, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Lock us in. I want to be your go-to Chicago Bulls YouTube channel. Anytime a news or rumors piece comes out around this team, I want it to be my face that you guys see on your YouTube page. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, go Bulls.